Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybassdotcom. Got a lesson for you on playing through Little Green Bag, as made famous on the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack. Just before we head over to the lesson, don't forget, if you're not a subscriber to my e-zine, click on the link underneath the video, head over to my website, enter your email address, and you'll get a 3 or 4 video and PDF lessons sent to you over the next few days as a thank you for subscribing to the list. And there's a free monthly e-zine with video and PDF lesson, so go and do that, and let's move on to the lesson and let's go and look at the intro. The intro section for Little Green Bag is an 8-bar section. Play it through the metronome. Metronome has been slowed down to 90. Then we'll talk through the notes. 3, 4. Go into the verse. Okay, the first 4 bars, very much an 8th note feel. What that does is it makes it easier to learn. It also introduces the kind of fingering pattern of the riff sections. It's based around a minor kind of pentatonic kind of box shape, but it uses these patterns when the rhythmic emphasis changes from 8th notes to 16th notes. So it's a good way of getting it under your belt. So the first 2 bars start off in G. Okay, and the notes we've got G, 5th fret of the D string, F natural, 3rd fret of the D string, back to G at the 5th fret, then up to B flat, the minor 3rd, at the 3rd fret of the G string, back to G, 5th fret of the D string, F, back to G, 3rd and 5th frets of the D string, and that's the first bar. And then the second bar, which is kind of like a answer pattern to the question of the first bar, is, and that's G, F, 5th and 3rd frets of the D string, as we've done before, down to C, 3rd fret of the A string, and then that long held note is D, which is the 5th fret of the A string. So the whole 2-bar pattern. And then the 3rd and 4th bars. And you got the pickup there at the end of the 4th bar, which starts introducing kind of the 16th note feel. So the 3rd bar is, and those notes are D, 5th fret of the A string, C, 3rd fret of the A string, back to D at the 5th fret, F, 3rd fret of the D string, D, 5th fret of the A string, back to C, and then back to D, 3rd and 5th frets of the A string respectively. And then the 4th bar, which kind of like finishes off the pattern, that's the main part of the bar. It's F natural, 3rd fret again of the D string, G, 5th fret of the D string, B flat, 3rd fret of the G string again, and back to G. So I play up to there. The second time through in the intro, it essentially plays something very similar. There's a couple of chromatic notes thrown in there, which makes it a bit cooler, and the rhythmic focus changes from 8th note to 16th note. Now, before we get to the 5th bar, we've got this just little pickup, which is just open D string, F, 3rd fret of the D string again, and then the next 4 bars, I'll play the next 3 bars, I'll just slow the metronome down a fraction more, and then I'll play these 4 bars and we'll talk through them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'd be into the verse. So it's very similar. Lots of similar note choices, but the rhythms just changed a fraction. So the first bar is this. And what you've got is G, again 5th fret of the D string, F, 3rd fret of the D string, 2 Gs, both 5th fret of the D string, B flat, 3rd fret of the G string again, G. Now here's a kind of change to the pattern. We've got an open D string, and then F and G. third and fifth frets of the G string. So that bar slowly is. And then the sixth bar, which kind of answers that, is. And you've got C, third fret of the A string, C sharp, there's the chromatic note I was talking about, fourth fret of the A string, D, fifth fret of the A string, and then you've got kind of like pickups to the sixth bar. You hit the open A string twice. Then the sixth bar, I play sixth and seventh bar with the metronome. 3, 4. And then you're back into the verse. So the sixth bar is. Sorry, not the sixth bar, the seventh bar. And those notes are D, C, D, D, F, D, open A, C, D. And you should know note location: C, third fret of the A string, D, fifth fret of the A string, F, third fret of the G string. So once again, and that's D, C, D, D, F, D, open A, C, D. And then you've got the final bar, again another chromatic pattern. And then again that same pickup, open D and F natural at the end, leading to the verse. Those notes in that chromatic run: F, third fret of the D string, F sharp, G, third, fourth, fifth frets of the D string, and then you've got the pickup, open D, F at the third fret. So that's the intro. Very cool little piece of bass playing. Might take you a while just to get the rhythms, especially of the 16th note, but do work on it before you move on, because that kind of feel, the kind of carries through into the actual verse section. 3, 2, 1. The verse pattern is a 16-bar pattern. Now, when I play through it with the metronome in a second, you'll probably think, gosh, that's quite complex. But if you've spent some time on the intro section, you've already covered most of what's in this verse section, and it's just a few little minor variations will actually get you through it. So I'll play through the 16 bars with the metronome, and then we'll talk through it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the double time section. So let's look at that in a bit more detail. Now, first of all, the first 4 bars, very, very similar to the second 4 bars in the intro. I'll dial the metronome down, just play these 4 bars, and then I'll just note any differences. 3, 4. Okay, so slight differences there. First bar is the same as the fifth bar rather of the intro. G, F, G, G, B flat, G, open D, F, G. This rhythm. And then you've got this chromatic run, identical again. C, C sharp, D. Then the first difference, in the intro we went down to the open A string. In the verse, you go up to A, 7th fret of the D string, hit that twice. Then the third bar of the verse, again, identical to what you've already learnt for the intro. D, C, D, D, F, D, open A, C, D. And then in the fourth bar, you've got this chromatic run again. F, F sharp, G. This time you've got the same pickup, D and F, but it's a slightly different rhythm. In the intro, you have a pause of a 16th note, and then play like that. In this bit, they're both 8 notes. So you go, and then you're into the next section. Now, there's some tiny variations in this next section. I'll play this 4 bars through with the metronome. 3, 4. Okay, so you can hear lots of similarities and some tiny variations. So let's go through it bar by bar. 5th bar, we've just got a slight rhythmic change there. It's almost like a combination of the 2 patterns we looked at in the intro. Note-wise, it's very straightforward. G, F, G, G, B flat, G, F, G. The second half of the bar, the rhythm kind of straightens out again. Then we go down to the chromatic run for the 6th bar. And you've got a slightly different approach, couple of notes at the end of that pattern. The chromatic run always stays the same, C, C sharp, D. Then we've got an open A and a C natural, open A string, 3rd fret of the A string. Then we go to the 7th bar. Again, we've got a slight variation. So we've got D, C, D, F, D, open A string, C, D, in this kind of rhythm. And then you're up to the chromatic run in the 8th bar. And then there's a different, again, last beat, there's a different approach note, or approach pattern. What you've got is you jump up to the B flat at the 3rd fret G string, down to F, natural, 3rd fret of the D string, F sharp, 4th fret of the G string, and then you're into the basic pattern again, starting on G. So I'll play those last 2 bars again because there's some slight rhythmic differences there. And then you're into bar 9 of this section. Bars 9, 10, 11 and 12 are identical to the first 4 bars of the verse pattern, except for the very last beat. The end of bar 4, the fill was after the chromatic run, and then into the next pattern of the G. This time it's very subtle difference. You could play either the same, and if you were playing live in a band context, it wouldn't make any difference. That's just what's on the record. So go back, just rewind the video a fraction and look at bars 1 to 4 of the verse and just repeat them for bars 9, 10, 11 and 12. That brings us to the last 4 bars of the verse. This is where the vocal drops out and the bass and another instrument, I think it's a guitar, it might be a keyboard, plays the kind of the riff in an 8th note pattern that we already looked at in the intro. I'll play it through with the metronome. There's a couple of slight differences, we'll talk through them. 3, 4. Okay, so it's identical to what we've already played. I'll just talk through the notes. G, F, G, B flat, G, F, G, G, F, C, D, and then D, C, D, F, D, C, D, F, G, B flat, G, and then here's where there's a difference. You've got 3 approach notes to the kind of the double time section, and those approach notes are open D string, E, 2nd fret of the D string, F sharp, 4th fret of the D string. So go through that section carefully. That should enable you to play through the verse section. That just leaves us with the double time section to have a look at.